afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, I don't think my mic was working in the beginning. I hope this is a great day for you. God is good to each and every one of us, and I am just trusting and believing that He is who He is and that He loves us so much. And He has blessed us to be here one more time. Today, I'm going to talk about when the love grows cold. And we're going to talk about what to do about it. If you want to stay in it, if you don't want to stay in it, you don't have to stay in it. So I just want everybody to know that you have a chance. You have your own decision to make. And if you want to make the decision not to stay in it, you do not have to stay in it. But if you do want to stay in it, then we have some information on how you can stay in it if you want to. So I have a song that I want to play for you, and I am pulling it up now. And let's see here. Yeah, there it is. So I want to share this song. This is a song that I composed. Oh gosh, the verse and all the melody and everything 40 something years ago. So I finished it probably about 3 years ago. I finished this song. So I want you to hear it. And we're talking about relationships today. And this is a love song. And there's nothing wrong with us living and listening to a beautiful love song that makes sense. Okay? There's nothing in here about the sex and all of that. So for some people whose minds immediately went to the negative, you can come on back now. There's nothing wrong with listening to a good love song, and especially one that makes sense. So we're talking about when the love grows cold. And when the love grows cold, some people just piddle around and play with other people's lives, their emotions, play with their feelings and all of that instead of just making your way on out, doing the exit. And then some people stay in there thinking it's going to get better. And then the other person is playing around with them until they stay there indefinitely and might die in that situation, either long term, like until they say death do us part, or then there could be some danger in the relationship also. So this is the song. Just listen to the song, okay? I just want to love you. It makes so much sense. And I am very proud of this song that I finished it because that's how I feel. Just listen to it. If you don't want me to, just let me alone. Just let me alone. So here we go. I Just Want to Love You by Miss Shirley Polk. And it's a beautiful song. And if you let yourself enjoy it, you will.
I've had lots of heartache, pain and despair. Sometimes I wonder if you really, really care. You say one thing today and tomorrow change your mind. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and for that I just don't have the time. have time. All I wanna do is love you and understand your way. Don't try to be someone else, just be for real each and every day. Please let me love you and understand your ways. I don't want you to be nobody else, just be for real for me each and every day. It's getting late in the evening. Our sun is going down. We're getting older by the second, and we don't have time to mess around. It's getting late in the evening, and our life's sun is going down. We certainly are getting older by the second, and we certainly don't have time to mess around. Late, late, late. It's late, late, late. We're older and older and older. We can't mess around. Oh, it's late in the evening. Our life's sun is going down. We're getting older and we can't mess around. All I wanna do is love you and understand your ways. Don't try to be somebody else for me. Just be for real for me each and every day. All I wanna do is love you each and every day. Be for real for me in every way.
And that's it. And so I am just so thankful. That is a beautiful, beautiful song. And I am just so grateful that the Lord blessed me to compose this song. I just want to love you. And like I said, I started it years ago. Years ago, I started this song. So I just went back and finished it up by the grace of God. That's been, like I said, I think I released it about 2 years ago. So I'm trying to get my SoundCloud to stop playing here. Okay, there it is. Okay, let me stop my SoundCloud here. But you can go to SoundCloud and you can get that song. You can get any of my music. Just go to SoundCloud, Miss Shirley Polk, Evangelist Shirley Polk Davis. You can get it in Amazon. You can get it all over the place. So, all right, now I got that stopped. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my subject. Hello, cousin Bishop Lee Coles in Clarksville, Texas. Lee Cole, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to get into what I'm talking about today. And when the love grows cold, and I am in Live, Bold, and Bloom. I am in Forbes. I am in Psychology Today. And I don't think I've been in this one before. Exploring Your Mind. I believe I have. Yeah, I think I've been in Exploring Your Mind. So I have, if you want to stay in the relationship, if you feel that it is a hopeful situation, that's your choice. But if you don't feel like if you feel it's a hopeless situation, I'm going to give you a way to exit that relationship gracefully, okay? So the choice is yours. But if it's a danger to you, then I advise you to, as Cleaster would tell you, get some yonder. And you have to do it. Uh, you have to be discreet in so many cases. Don't tell, like they say, don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. You have to be very careful, very wise when you're leaving these relationships. And sometimes they seem like they're so peaceful. Oh, he won't do anything to me if I leave. Oh, she won't do anything to me if I leave. Don't take a chance on it, okay? Don't take a chance. So I am going to start with emotional distance when relationships grow cold. And this is exploring your mind. Exploringyourmind.com. And this was reviewed and approved by psychologist Valeria Sabater. And she wrote it too. And November the 15th, 2021 is when it was last updated. So, when relationships start to fizzle out, sometimes people tend to behave badly, and you know that's the truth. They don't want you, but they don't want you to go. And then it could be a bad thing. That's why I say you have to be wise, you have to be discreet, you have to choose wisdom when you're getting out of these relationships. Like I said, sometimes it can seem like they're so easygoing and you're saying, "Oh, if I get out of it, they don't care. They won't do anything." You don't know. So you have to plan it, and then if you have to get out of it in a hurry, then you still have to be wise, and you have to be discreet, you have to be smooth with it, okay? Be very careful, all right? But if it's harmful to you, your children, or whoever's with you, you need to make a move. But you've got to do it wisely, okay? So when relationships start to fizzle out, sometimes people tend to behave badly. So when faced with emotional distance, some people walk out with no explanation. Others come up with excuses or refuse to acknowledge the signs that the relationship is coming to an end. Relationships, like bones, sometimes break. However, most breakups don't happen overnight. And that's for real. And I know all of us who have ever been in relationships that have grown cold, toxic, whichever. It did not happen overnight. So relationships, like bones, sometimes break. However, most breakups don't happen overnight. Usually, the distance between two people subtly but steadily grows until they both finally decide to end the relationship. And that song that Gladys Knight sings, Neither One of Us, and she says, neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. So we just stay in the relationship because memories start coming back and you start thinking of the times that you had when you were enjoying each other. So she said, neither one of us wants to say goodbye. But somebody's got to say goodbye while you can say goodbye. But you have to be wise. You must be wise. You have to be wise, okay? So, the first signs tend to be that you don't feel a sense of complicity anymore. You don't feel a sense of complicity anymore. You don't laugh together and you avoid looking at each other in the eye. That's a terrible, terrible feeling. I know it. You see my banner under there, live, love, survive, and thrive. 2025 and forever. That is my motto for life, okay? Live, love, survive, thrive. 2025 and forever. So you see that banner going across there. So the first signs, I want to go back over this, tend to be that you don't feel a sense of complicity anymore. You don't laugh together and you avoid looking at each other in the eye. Emotional distance always hurts. It's even more painful if one person continues to believe in the relationship. That doesn't mean the person on the receiving end doesn't suffer as well. Okay? So that person tends to feel guilty or remorseful. So, whatever the case may be, one thing is clear. we are not very good at ending relationships. If you can manage to end things on a good note, it'll make it that much easier to move on to a new stage. If things end badly, the opposite tends to be true, especially if you have to deal with ghosting when someone disappears from your life abruptly and without any explanation. Nevertheless, we all have the tools we need to deal with these kinds of experiences. We all have the tools that we need. Figuring out what happened. Figuring out what happened is our next section here. And we are right now in exploringyourmind.com. Relationships fizzle out due to things such as disappointment, lack of interest, changing needs, or different worldviews, among others. When the flame goes out, you go into a sort of limbo. You are not sure what to do next, what happened, or who is to blame. Charlene Bellew and Brenda H. Lee from the University of Cambridge did a study on this topic. So they found that few things tend to be as complicated for human beings as leaving relationships. Their research showed that people often need to know exactly why things went south in order to be able to move on with their lives. And the other day I talked about when your partner is upset, but they don't know how to express it, or when your partner is upset and they won't talk about it. That is in here too. That has something to do about it. So some people won't talk about it. They won't express it. They don't know how sometimes. So if there isn't a clear reason for the breakup, people tend to try to get back together. That makes the whole process more difficult. It complicates the process of starting a new stage with dignity and integrity. Hello, Elder Polk. Thank you so much for being here with me. Meet my cousin, Bishop Lee Cole from Clarksville, Texas. Bishop Lee Cole, this is Dr. Larry L. Polk, the pastor of St. Emmanuel, Church of God in Christ in Denison. You've been there. All right, now I'm going to get on with my with my um, lesson here. Okay, we're talking about when the love grows cold. Now we're going to talk about the wrong ways to end a relationship. And we've probably, if you've ever been in a relationship and it ended, especially if it's been more than one or two, it'd probably be the wrong way, maybe the right way, maybe you just don't know what way, but it ended. And it seems like everybody was hurt. So the wrong ways to end a relationship. Just as we mentioned at the beginning, the worst possible way to break up with someone is to disappear without leaving a trace. So these days, ghosting is a common practice in romantic relationships and platonic ones. Now, this is point of view, okay, with Miss Shirley Polk. So I want to add there. Sometimes it's best to ghost them, to disappear without a trace so they cannot track you down, depending on the relationship. If it was a toxic relationship, I understand what the writer is saying, because sometimes people just go and you say, why, why did you leave? If you could ever see them again, if they'll ever talk to you, just don't know what happened. They just left, okay? So, next part here is not you, it's me. This excuse is so famous that it has become a joke. We say it to free the other person from any responsibility, and that is a problem also. Because if you like me, I don't like to hurt. other people's feelings now. And they've just hurt mine and just walked on them and everything. But I am very tender and I don't like to hurt other people's feelings. But now, in my older and more, what should I say, mature stage of life, it's my duty to let a person know. Now, I haven't always done that because now there are things that are going on. I should have let somebody know. But hey, sometimes you should have to move on depending on the time that has passed. Okay. Now, the amount of time. So it's not you, it's not me. They say sometimes people say it so much, it's just become a joke. So we say things like, you deserve better, or I'm in over my head and I'm not giving you what you need. People say those things to cover up the simple truth that they just are not interested anymore. So as harsh as it sounds, which is why people tend to lie. They just don't love the other person anymore. They just don't love the other person anymore. And that's why my song said, uh, it's getting late in the evening and our life's sun is going down. And we're getting older and older by the second, and we don't have time to mess around. And that is so true. And I've told about this that I saw on YouTube some years ago where this uh, son and the mother and the father. The son was driving, the mother and the father were sitting. One was sitting in the front seat, one was sitting in the back. And the son was recording them cussing each other out. I mean, it was so vulgar and it was so vicious toward each other. And I'm thinking, okay, if you don't like each other, just let each other go their separate ways. And do you know that people live like that until they die out of the relationship? And it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. If it can't be fixed, you have to move on. Move on and rebuild your life. Yes, okay, now, okay. The broken iceberg is next. The iceberg strategy is also very common. This is when you just let the relationship freeze over on its own without taking any action at all. You ignore the signs and wait until the relationship is a solid rock of ice that sinks on its own. And that seems like a waste of time, doesn't it? Emotional distance, a difficult cross roads. This is our next section here. So when relationships grow cold, that doesn't always mean that the end is inevitable. It's important to keep in mind that although emotional distance can lead you off the path for a while, it doesn't necessarily mean your relationship will end. So if you have the right tools to deal with the issue at hand, you can bring the warmth and spark back into the relationship. And I really believe that. So I'm not sitting here telling you don't try. That's not what I'm saying. But when it gets to the point where it's a danger, then it's time to make a drastic change. And as Cleaster would say, I repeat, get some yonder. All right. Psychologists treat anxiety disorders and depression every day. These conditions directly affect the quality of people's relationships. When someone is going through a period of serious stress or depression, they don't tend to have the energy or motivation to enjoy other people's company. They really don't. They really don't. And people don't understand that. People really don't understand it. If we don't understand the psyche, if we don't understand emotions, uh, if we don't understand the moods, if we don't understand the hormones and all of that that play a part in this, we're just at a loss. We just don't understand. And so if you feel like your relationship is fizzling out, or you feel emotionally disconnected from your partner, you can do something about it. Every relationship goes through the different stages and needs attention. Okay? Every relationship, for real, goes through different stages and needs attention. You have to feed it and water it if you want it to grow. Conflict and problems allow relationships to evolve and grow stronger. You need to be an emotionally competent person, whether you want to revive a relationship or end it. Unfortunately, that isn't something people are taught in school, and that's for real. So many things we are not taught, and sometimes it can be because maybe our parents or our guardians didn't know to teach us, and then sometimes they go like traditional things, or should I say tradition, but in it with learned behavior and things like you just stay there, you don't leave. Like they have a saying, say, if you make your bed hard, lay in it. And so many people have met terrible ends by doing that. The meaning, no matter how bad it gets, whatever happens, you stay there. And I don't agree with that, okay? You need to be an emotionally competent person, whether you want to revive a relationship or end it. Unfortunately, that isn't something people are taught in school. It's something you have to practice daily. Train your emotional competence by being sensitive, respectful, and treating others with dignity. And see, that is one thing that needs to be stressed over and over again. And like in the Ten Commandments, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is what this is saying. Treat your emotional competence by being sensitive, respectful, and treating others with dignity. After all, every relationship, whether romantic or platonic, deserves to be respected. Knowing how to let it go with integrity and respect also speaks volumes of our humanity. That is so, so, so true. And I believe that is the end of that. So we're going to our next, which is 4 ways to stay close when growing in different directions. And like I said in the beginning, if you want to stay in the relationship, there are ways you can work on that relationship if you choose to stay there and try again. But then you have to know when enough is enough, okay? So, I mean, we're in psychology today now, and there's 4 ways to stay close when growing in different directions. The key is to embrace change, be curious, talk openly, and find common ground. And this article was just posted on the 3rd of February in the year 2025. And so that was yesterday. So this is reviewed by Davia Seals. This is Psychology Today. So the key points here in this article or this piece is being open to the growth opportunity when there's change in a relationship brings resiliency to the bond. Next, communication is key. When growing in different directions, partners need to open up and feel heard. Next, nourishing what they do share in common and seeking a bigger purpose together helps partners to stay close. Next, the relationships go through many seasons. See, that last article said that, didn't it? Know that it's possible to find fulfillment while navigating changes. I believe that too. Like with all living things, our relationships are constantly evolving. The person we become can look very different from who we were at the beginning of our relationship. See, we have to realize that we do evolve. And many times we evolve in the direction that the relationship is going in. So we have to be mindful of that too. So if it's going in a negative direction, we're trying to deal with it and compensate and adapt maybe and deal with it, but survive, okay? So our needs and our desires should naturally change, hopefully, as we grow closer to our true selves. This is a good thing, right? Absolutely. Continued development is a source of true fulfillment and helps keep the energy flowing in your relationship. That being said, what if you and your partner have a different desire for growth or you start to grow in very different directions? Growth can feel terrifying for one partner or both, particularly when it involves change that makes your beloved, or the relationship feel unrecognizable. And this is why communication is key. Communication is key. So, how can partners make sure they are growing together? First, we need to be able to name the changes we're experiencing. Next section here is changes you might experience in your relationship. So, below, we're going to get into some of the most common pivots that, if not handled carefully, can cause partners to grow apart. So, see if any of these resonate with you. Wherever you are, whatever year you're watching and listening to Point of View with Miss Shirley Polk, whether it's day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, whenever, this is good for wherever you are, whenever, okay? So, shift in priority or desire. So, what this is, the most common pivots that, if not handled carefully, can cause partners to grow apart. So, the first one here, shift in priority or desire with one's career, hobby, sex, whether to have children, where to live, or level of ambition. The next bullet point here is personal growth and individuation, okay, that inspires new attitudes and behavior patterns. For example, overcoming people pleasing and learning to say no. A desired discrepancy for personal growth can be particularly impactful. The next is change in alcohol use, whether that be sobriety or progressive substance abuse. Spiritual awakening is the next one with a new perspective, language, friends, and a peeling way of what no longer aligns. Next is a physical or mental health condition that changes needs, capabilities, and or personality. Next, change in political views and values or strengthening of the same. Parenting is the next, with all takes to balance the demands, with all it takes to balance the demands during their younger years or when misaligned with navigating adult child relationships. This is all very important. So, dealing proactively with change, because all of us change and we are changing gradually each and every micro, pico, nanosecond of life. Some change is taking place. So we're going to deal proactively with change. So here are the 4 C's to surf the tides of change in your relationship, the big and small ones, starting with the power of your mind. All right? That's the best place to start. Number one, consciousness. Embrace and trust the change process, individually and as a couple. Because if you're coupled with someone, you must communicate, You must share. And that's why I said embrace and trust the change process individually and as a couple. So our mindset has a great impact on the future we create. We know this intuitively, but research on resilience. Now, I deal with this research. That's what I do. I like the stats, the whole works. All right. I like to prove it. But research on resilience supports this mind outcome connection. Rather than resisting or judging the changes that are brewing, be curious. Self reflect to understand what's the root of your concerns. Explore your fears to help you overcome them. And so many of us, I thank God for learning. I thank God because our parents made sure that we went to school, got an education, and now we can read, write, understand, comprehend for ourselves. So many things we can learn for ourselves. So explore your fears to help you overcome them. Self reflect to understand what's the root of your concerns. We had to learn to do these things. Knowledge is power. Rather than resisting or judging the changes that are brewing, be curious. Self reflect to understand what's at the root of your concerns. We have to know what the root cause is before we can go any further and try to fix the situation because, hey, like, how do you know what to do when you don't know what needs to be done? That's part of one of my songs, too. How do you know which way to go when you don't know where you're coming from? How do you know what to say when you don't know what's been said before? But listen to this. They say we've got a long way to go, but can you tell me? Okay? Can you tell me where are we now? Starting at the root. Okay? Explore your fears to help you overcome them. Be open to how this process might ultimately help you grow and bring benefit to you and your partner. Remember, you have a partner, okay? See, this is where the danger lies when we neglect to realize that there's someone in this relationship besides me, myself, and I. This abundant mindset sets you up for the best possible outcome. It's easy to panic and see reality from a doomed state of mind. It's easy to do that. And most of the time, our minds will go to the negative before it goes to the positive. It seems like that's just a natural thing, okay? But it's easy to panic and see reality from a doomed state of mind. Pause, breathe, relax. And the acronym is PBR. Pause, breathe, relax. Do what makes you feel grounded. And remember that evolving as partners is common and natural. Now, don't just, when the first thing goes wrong, and it's because of people's understanding, because of their sometimes the environment they grew up grew up in, because of experiences they had in their childhood, and there are different factors in life that play a part and how we act and react to situations. And sometimes when the first thing goes wrong, it's I'm leaving you. I'm going back home where I came from. So give it a chance, okay? At least once, maybe twice, okay? Communicate. Number two, communication. Share openly and listen to truly understand. They say, listen attentively. Let really hear what the other person is saying. Sometimes we're looking at a person and we're hearing and then just eventually they just fade on out and we're looking at them. Sometimes we have to say, would you repeat that? Because we're not really listening to truly understand. And sometimes our minds just wander, just go. Okay? But communication is key, all right? Share openly and listen to truly understand. So you share openly and then you listen to your partner. So we can't get anywhere in our relationship without creating an approachable environment to talk about anything day to day, but especially during difficult points in the relationship. It's imperative to pick a time to engage when you feel calm, okay? Make sure when you're calm, cool, and collected, then that's a good time to engage in a conversation. Partners need to open up with one another about their thoughts and fears, their dreams, and their needs. This helps you feel more connected and can open the gates for mutual solutions. And then she has a book, A Soulful Marriage, said, I offer the love seat listening method. You hear that? The love seat listening method to help partners take turns sitting in the love seat. The idea is to make sure each partner feels fully heard and understood. Taking turns sitting in the love seat, metaphorically or literally, helps you slow down and allow each partner the time they need to open up without being interrupted. And so I'm talking about when the love grows cold. Okay? This is what we're talking about today. We're moving along. Number 3, commitment. Actively prioritize your relationship and your partner. Partners can weather huge changes when they each feel valued, cherished, and accepted. That's the difference. That's the difference in success and failure, okay? In a relationship, partners can weather huge changes when they each feel valued, when they feel cherished, and when they feel accepted. This is a time to be in two places at once, venturing into your own discoveries and investing in making your partner a priority, also known as differentiation. You can be autonomous while simultaneously maintaining intimacy. We can do two things at once, can't we? Oh, yes, we can, if we want to. Prioritizing your partner can include focusing on what you appreciate, cherishing them in a way they feel it, and accepting and loving them unconditionally. So if you're the partner who feels afraid of the changes you're seeing, try connecting with your heart to consider your partner's deeper dreams and desires. Consider what they are going through. If you're the partner who is seeking change, take it slow, don't judge, and have empathy for your partner's feelings. Some people, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what you say. This is what I want to do. But that's not the attitude. That is not the attitude, okay? Do unto others as you would them do unto you. Okay, number 4, common ground. Nurture shared interests and find purposes as a couple. Now is the time to get creative. You might already have activities or people in your life that bring you together. Put extra emphasis on these. Make a list of values you share. Take note on what you do, even in micro moments that makes you feel close. Try something neither of you has ever experienced before. It can be bonding, and that's for real. And I love to have fun and do different things. I do. So the key is investing in what expands your similarities and deflates your differences. Taking it further, use your relationship to become more giving in and outside your collective. Research has shown that awakening the spirit of generosity through altruism increases the desirability between partners. May I say this again? Research has shown that awakening the spirit of generosity through altruism increases desirability between partners. So join your heads and hearts together and brainstorm simple ways you can give together or support each other's passions to make the world better. I love it. And here's the bottom line. This is psychologytoday.com. Growth and change are woven into the essence of who we are. Do your best to lean into what feels unpredictable and unfamiliar with an eye toward the personal growth. Sometimes it's necessary to let go of a relationship, and that's okay, but give it time. I told you, didn't I say that? Sometimes you just can't fix them when they've gotten to a certain point. Sometimes it's necessary to let go of a relationship, and that's okay, but give it time. Relationships go through many seasons. Know that it's possible to find deep fulfillment together while managing considerable differences, especially when you open yourself to growing along the way. This is so good. Thank you, Psychology Today. All right, now we'll go to our next one. This is outreach, and this is very short, so we have time to do this. This is outreachmagazine.com. And this one is saying what to do when your love grows cold. What to do. And this is Kurt Bubna. And he did this in September. He released this in September 26th in 2018. And this is Outreach Magazine. Kurt Bubna. Bubna. What to do when your love grows cold. If someone could peel back your heart to see what or whom you are passionate about, what would they find? More importantly, would they find any fire in your belly? Is there a burning desire to fulfill your destiny? Do you find yourself excited about addressing a great cause? Are you still hot for your spouse? Are you passionate about your relationship with God? If you are a leader, did you wake up this morning ready to face whatever life throws at you with joy? If not, why not? If your love for a person, a previous passion, or your God-given purpose is on life support or already dead cold, what happened? Here are a few things to consider. First point, have you lost your passion because you neglected your fuel? Whoa, how about that? Even a huge bonfire. Hello, Lady Patsy. Thank you so much for being here. Even a huge bonfire eventually fades, excuse me. I misread that. And you know, I have to go back. You know how I am. Even a huge bonfire eventually fades to smoldering ash without new wood. The only way to keep a fire going is to feed it. What feeds your soul? What fuels your enthusiasm? Great leaders, companies, and churches became great by tapping into their passions and doing so again and again. What are your emotional, physical, and spiritual gauges showing? Maybe it's time to refuel. Next, have you made it, whatever you're doing, too much about you? Oh my goodness. Self centered narcissism is like dumping ice on your passions. Sadly, if you forget that it's not just about you and what you want or think you need, you start to drift into the lukewarm waters of meism. When you make a relationship about what you get out of it, things grow cold quickly. When you make your role as a leader about you, the result is emptiness, not true meaning or fulfillment. Passion is maintained when you are otherly. And that's ARE, otherly, okay? OTHERLY. Next, have you and what you do become far too complicated? Sometimes we can just make it so hard when it really doesn't have to be. It is the nature of things to go from simple to complicated. What once started as a clear cut and straightforward mission often ends up overregulated, complex, and convoluted. A problem occurs and we create a policy. We hit a roadblock, so we develop more procedures or systems to help us, or so we hope, avoid the same barrier in the future. Sometimes, however, less is more. There's a reason why new relationships, new companies, and new churches often grow rapidly. They are simple and streamlined, which makes it easier for the participants to be focused and effective. Maybe it's time to simplify. Return to your first love and do the things you did at first. Hmm, that makes sense. The older I get, the writer is saying here, okay, the more I realize how easy it is to live on cruise control. Oh, don't I talk about the cruise control? I am so happy, and I know I say this quite often. Whenever God puts an idea in my mind to talk about. They all blend in together, and he always reminds me through these writings of other people and these ideas that what I've given you blends right in with what they're saying. And I am so thankful. I consult God for everything I do, and I am so thankful. I have to say that. I know this is not Greater Gospel Temples webcast, but this is me, and I am who I am. Praise God. Hallelujah. Now, the older I get, he said, so it's safe and convenient to get into a routine. And he said, I find comfort in the predictable. Sadly, there's a little passion in the zone of security and ease. And talking about that cruise control, God gave me years ago. He said to me, you know, we're promised 70, that's 70 years. And so I said, after when we reach the 70 years and go beyond that, we're on cruise control by the grace of God. That's why I got so excited when they said cruise control. Now, okay, but what if you and I lived every day of our lives right up to our last breath with a burning hot passion for something that is bigger than we are? What if we were consumed by a holy obsession to make a positive difference in the place where we live and work? What if we stayed willing to the end to give our very lives, if need be, for an eternal cause? What if? Would you risk everything for something that truly matters? I hope so. This is a writer talking, okay? And as I saw on NCIS when the man said, I concur, okay? I concur. All right. He said, I hope so. I pray so. And I know that is a place where you and I find the adventure of God's abundant life, not in a lazy boy, but where we put it all on the line. It's time to get hot again. And this is by Kurt Bubna, and he's the senior pastor of East Point Church in Spokane Valley, Washington, a regional purpose driven director, Saddleback Church, and the author of the book Epic Grace Chronicles of a Recovering Idiot. Oh, I like that. So, this post was originally published on his website, which is KurtBubna.com. All right. Oh, we have 4 minutes, 4 minutes left. And so let me see. We're going to Forbes now. And Forbes is telling us 3 tips to end a relationship without breakup drama by a psychologist. And this is Mark Travers. And he's a contributor to Forbes. And there are 3 ways. I might not get to go deep into this, but embarking on the journey of love often fills us with hope and anticipation. But along the way, relationships can encounter unforeseen challenges that put their foundation to the test. As time unfolds, the initial spark may dwindle, giving way to moments of doubt and uncertainty. In such instances, recognizing the signs that a relationship might be nearing its end becomes paramount. Understanding these signals not only helps us decipher the state of the relationship, but also provides insights into how to navigate the delicate process of closure. You have to be wise. And like I tell people, male or female, don't go, I'm going to leave you. You better stop this because I already planning on leaving you. Do not tell your plans. Do not do that. People make such terrible mistakes telling what they're going to do. Don't do that. I know we get in the heat of the moment and we just get so upset. Well, that's all right. I already got my plans to leave you. No, we don't do that. You have to be wise and discreet. Okay, so here are 3 telltale signs that your relationship has neared its end. Number one, there is no breakdown. There is a breakdown in communication. Number two, physical intimacy has plateaued. And number three, there is always an agreement to keep the peace. Wow. There is always an agreement to keep the peace. So when you have to do that, I agree, we're going to keep the peace. So confronting the reality of ending a relationship is undoubtedly challenging, but honesty and clarity are essential in navigating this delicate conversation. The 3 essential steps: end things face to face, if possible. Okay? If possible. Everything can't be dealt with face to face. Like that robot on Lost in Space, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Sometimes it's too dangerous to do that face to face. You have to be wise, okay? All right. Now, this is point of view with Shirley Polk, so I put my point of view in there, all right? Number 2, be transparent about the reasons. Number 3, be decisive and get straight to the point. Don't be hum around. Oh yeah, this and that. You have to get straight to the point. And let me tell you something. If you're getting out of a relationship and it's very toxic, don't tarry. Don't let them draw you back in because it will feel. Just be careful, okay? And what does it say? Pray about everything, and don't just pray. Listen for God's answer. I love you so much. Enjoy the remainder of your day. I love you so much, and I really, really appreciate you for being here. You're awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And God willing, tomorrow at 1 p.m. will be From the Biblical Files of Dr. Mack by Dr. J.J. McAllister here at 1 p.m. On Thursday at 1 p.m., Point of View will be on again. God willing, it will be on again. Then Saturday is Greater Gospel Temple and Inspiration of God Ministries, Saturday evening Bible lesson session, and Sunday morning. Is Sunday morning manna from heaven. I love you so. Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the remainder of your day, evening, night, afternoon, morning.